right, we got Jason from IGW here. How you doing today?
Pretty good, Brad.
Fantastic,
Good, yeah.
fantastic. Well,
Excited
Jason,
to be
listen,
here.
I got to tell you, this one's special for me, right? Being a retailer for 20 years, about 7 or 8 years into my journey, we connected. And you helped my business during the recession. All the financing companies had gone away. We had no way to help our customers go home with the product, and you came in with the solution that really changed the game for me. We were able to really elevate my business to a point where I knew that we had to talk to other businesses about your business. So it was really unique. I actually started a new company, Financing Your Way, with my business partner, Ryan, and you were our first relationship. So I just want to thank you for that, because what's happened, just so you know, we've grown from working with you to working with a dozen finance companies in the country. We built a software platform to help them, and now we're processing over $500 million in transactions for retailers. And that all started because of our relationship. So it's fantastic to have you here today.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about IGW.
Jason Nemeth founded IGW 15 years ago, and actually helped it because my mom had a small retail shop as well. And my background is actually in engineering, and I saw her struggling with the same financial crisis. All the lenders were pulling out, and I knew she had good margins, and I knew there's tens of thousands of dollars walking out the door daily. So after talking with her, we set up a quick in-house payment plan, and surprisingly, it worked quicker than we thought. She did $20,000 in extra sales in the first 30 days, and then we just skyrocketed from there.
It's all history from there, right?
It's all history from
That's
there.
fantastic. So it started with family, and now you've just impacted businesses for the last 15 years.
Yep.
Fantastic.
We noticed she was missing out on so much, customers walking out the door with lack of financing options. Even with good financing options, you're still going to have people walking out the door. Not everyone's approved. So capturing every single customer was really important for her business. And once we saw how much we could actually make for her, we knew we had to create this an opportunity for other retailers as well.
Fantastic. So when I'm looking at anything for my business, whether it's a partner I want to work with or a software company, it doesn't matter. I look at 3 pillars. Okay, so I want to know, how is it going to help my customer? Because that's my number one priority. If I have happy customers, I get more referrals, I have a successful business.
Absolutely,
right? So number one, how are we helping our customers? 2, it backs into my team. How am I going to give my team a better experience? Because if I got a happy staff, I'm going to have happy customers, right? And then finally, the last cherry on the top for me is it going to make me money or is it going to save me money, right? So what I want to do is dive in with you on those 3 pillars, because I find that if any partner or any software platform can give you all 3, you have to do it, because it covers the 3 pillars.
Yep.
You can still do it if it just does one really well, right? And sometimes we do that. Like, this really is going to help the customer experience. Let's do it, right? And it might even cost me money, not make me money, but I know it's going to get a better experience. So we really look at those pillars. So I want to dive into those pillars with you. So if a retailer is looking at your business, they know that these are the things that will impact them, right? So let's start with the customer. Sure. So I'm a customer walking into a door for a retailer that you're working with. How's my experience going to be better?
So when you walk into a high-ticket retailer, typically you're either going to have to have a lot of cash, or you're going to have good credit to get approved for financing, right? No one walks into a store, sees something they like, and then like to leave without getting it. So that customer's in your store. As a merchant, you've done the work to get them in. Now make that experience good by getting the product or service that they want. And what we found is so many people were walking out the door that just didn't have the full amount today or get approved. Okay, so what we did is, by giving an extra option to pay over time, you're gonna give a lot more opportunity to capture a lot more customers instead of walking out the door. So they're getting the product, they're getting what they want, and the store is making the sale and able to do transaction with this customer. They're at your store, they're in front of you, they want your product. Give them an option to get it from you.
So basically, a happy customer. You're making customers happy.
They get what they want.
To leave the store with what they want.
We turn them into a customer.
Right.
If they leave, they're not a customer anymore, right? So
I like that. So basically, the way you give customers better experiences, you actually turn them into a customer.
Turn them into a customer.
That's fantastic. I've never thought about it like that. So you create customers for businesses.
Correct.
That's fantastic. I know when we were looking at the product, we used it over the years many different ways. And the biggest thing that changed the game for us is when we came up with 100% approvals. So we became a yes company. If you came in and applied and you wanted to go home, we were going to say yes. And the way we were able to do that was with your product. If we were not able to get them approved with traditional, we could come out and say, you're approved, 50% down, we got you for 9 months, and now we're saying yes.
Yeah. And it's exponential because that same customer, instead of leaving the store and telling other people, hey, I went in there, I couldn't get approved or I didn't have the full cash, other people know what they were doing as well. So if they go in there and say, hey, I got approved, I'm on this payment plan, now you're bringing, not only are you converting that customer, you're word of mouth and getting more people into people
Right.
start to know, hey, I can go here and get my product or service.
And that actually compounds. People don't track this data. I'm a data guy. I love tracking data.
Mm-hmm.
We found out that 20% of our business was from repeat customers, and then another 20% was from referrals of those customers. So if you think
That's a
about
big
that,
deal.
40% of the
Yeah.
revenue is because you're doing a good job in creating the customers you're talking about.
Yep,
So
creating
that's
the
huge.
customer.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
Awesome.
I love it. So, all right, so we're taking care of our customers. Now we're shifting into the team. How do you think IGW impacts the culture of a business?
A lot of the businesses that we do are, sales based. So you've got employees that want to do a good job, want to make money. It's pretty hard, I think, when an employee's there, they make the sale and the customer leaves without it, right? Everyone, I mean, sales cures everything. So if we're able to convert that lost customer into a sale, that's commission for the employee. They're there to make money, and then it just builds more excitement. If you can say, like you said, listen, it's 100% approval, okay? So everyone can come in, everyone has a shot at getting this. It's going to increase, customer acquisition. The salespeople are going to get done what they need. They do all that work for an hour and a half, whatever it is. They can't, you don't want to send the customer away without the purchase. So,
Well, think about that from the teams. In any retail business, you have turnover with your team. And so you're constantly training your team how to be successful. And not only does an employee have to learn everything about the business, they also have to understand financing, right? And if you have to go tell somebody that they were declined, it just doesn't feel good.
Yep.
It never feels good. Well, then they want to know why, and you have to try to explain it, and you don't know why.
It causes a really weird situation between that customer and
the employee. It's almost like the employee denied them. They feel like, why are you denying me? And obviously the team didn't have anything to do with it.
Yep.
So being able to come out and say yes every time with confidence just took away that fear. And if you have young people that have never been in a sales position and they're having to talk about denials and stuff, it isn't a great culture. It can be very, very tricky.
Sure.
So being able to be a yes company, say yes 100% of the time, for me was a game changer with the culture with my team. So.
Yep. Yeah. It changes the dynamic of the customer relationship with the employees big time. So,
absolutely.
and another thing too is you talked about training. With FormPiper, once we integrated, we noticed that even if we have a good product, sometimes it's hard for these small retailers to, really train everyone and keep them up to date. So we tried as best we could to get it streamlined, but until you're part of the process, it makes it hard. So that's why being in FormPiper, having our API and everything all set up, is important for us because. Now it's just it's on rails. It's a streamlined process, limits the training for the employees, and now you're really maximizing how many times the customer has access to different options like financing and things like that.
I think that kind of rolls into the next question, right? So by doing the API, we've got IGW and FormPiper. It's super turnkey, right? So it's very easy for the retailer to transact, right?
The retailer can get set up basically same day and start running contracts and start saving those customers the day they sign up. Yeah.
So this is going to be a layup question right here. How do you help retailers increase revenue or save money?
So very simply, I mean, IGW's core focus is to capture the lost sale, right? So it's interesting, every business operates off of their cash and finance customers, right? And they're paying their overhead, they're able to stay in business that way. So whenever you capture a lost sale, that's just additional revenue, right? In IGW, typically we do like to have, in different spaces, roughly about 50% down to cover, costs and things like that of the merchant. So every extra dollar we get is found money that drops directly to the bottom line. This could be the most profitable part of their business because they're able to capture the lost sale, the people that are walking out the door after they've already paid all their bills, right? So now we're talking about, I mean, this is where businesses can thrive. This is where they're going to get their retirement money. I mean, they can start accumulating long-term payments over time by just the sales that they were going to lose anyway. Now, when you compound that to say this is an extra $300,000 a year or $500,000 a year or $1 million a year in extra sales, and that's the most profitable part of your business. I mean, now we're not helping the business just survive. We're helping them thrive.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, there's two things I loved about looking back at your business and mine is one, the timing of the check when you would give it to me was the 15th of the month, and sales tax was always due on the 17th. So your checks always covered sales tax. I never had to worry about sales tax, and that's always a big number, and nobody likes to pay it, right? Because it's just money going to the government. So it really helped the cash flow of my business. I never had to worry about that big ticket item. I just had to worry about my payroll and my rent, right?
Yep.
And then I sold my businesses back in 2021, so it's been about 2 years, and I just got to say I really appreciate it. I just received my checks from you this month as well, so I'm still getting money from you
2 years later.
2 years later from what you guys have been collecting from the book of business that I was able to build, and it was
those
really
were
nice.
sales that you never would have had in the first place without us, right?
Right.
So those weren't finance and they weren't cash payments. Those were people that were getting ready to walk out the door, and you're still getting paid on them 2 years later. So it's
fantastic.
Yeah, game
It's
changer.
very
So,
much appreciated.
yeah.
All right, so I'm a retailer. I'm watching this video, right? So let's say I'm struggling with my consumer financing program. What would you have to say to them?
So for IGW, our core focus again is to just have a focus on capturing the customer who's going to leave your store, right? Let's convert your $0 in revenue every year from all the people that have left, and let's convert that into hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit for you. I mean, that's our focus. We don't focus on the cash and the credit customers. You already got that taken care of. How do you maximize every single customer that walks in your door? They're there, they want your product. Do not let them walk out the door without another option to buy from you. And this one really increases the number of customers that we can get for you. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars since day one of starting with IGW.
Fantastic. Well, I got to say, you meet the pillars, and I'm sure all the retailers you work with appreciate everything you do to help them drive success. It's great having you today.
Awesome.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
friend.
it.
Cool.